Sun.
They brought us in so early in that segment. We basically did the whole thing. Well, we were there for the whole block.
But if by the whole thing you mean heckle them while they make their predictions?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, I mean that passes content here at the Overwatch League.
Just ad-libbing in the background as they do their watch point segment.
Ladies and gentlemen, regardless, we digress already. Great to be back with you here, of course, the Overwatch League 2021 playoffs now. Yeah, it was sort of mentioned, I think Scott used the term many months ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that we got to see this matchup. It was quite fascinating. But look, the narrative was kind of that Dallas Fuel almost didn't even want to make it, to that event to Hawaii. They were pretty haggard.
To give Scott the benefit of the doubt, time does blend in the world
when you're in a garage.
Currently, yeah.
At least they can see the sun, so they can mark the passage of hours. We can't do that.
I think there's where they sent Dallas Fuel specifically, like, we've won a little bit of a break. We're not really going as hard as they possibly could for that final part of the season. Shanghai said the same thing. I think Shanghai, though, has come out, at least in the first match, right? We only have one game from them. Looked like a team that is still at that level. Dallas, I'm not as sold on hitting that high again. They go from first to second to third, then to not qualify. Like, we are trending a little bit down towards the season.
Do you feel like we're on a decline as Dallas?
I do feel a little bit, and it's still, I think they're a very good team. I just think there are teams that have progressively gotten better throughout the season that may have passed them, or at least equal their performance.
Well, we talked a bunch about the Dallas Fuel, but there's a whole other side to this conversation. But before we jump in there, we'll introduce the team. Of course, it is the one, the only, the Chengdu Hunters.
The Chengdu Zone, it absolutely does exist. This could get very down and dirty.
Whoa, and the Bash Bash! Mike is getting so many picks! They have rampaged. The Hunters will be desperate for revenge. Oh, beautiful stuff from Amon!
Shinfu! Somebody stop him!
He's a monster. No one has been able to shut him down. He's a freak. Oh my goodness, they are looking good right now.
Here they are, the Chengdu Hunters over the course of the season. It's 18 wins and 12 losses. And between these two teams, of course, it was a very one-sided affair last time we saw them. Yesterday, of course, Chengdu, they played with a backline that featured Farway and Nisha. They looked really quite good, I thought, especially on the Brig and Zen combo, Matthew. Chengdu played a bunch of different looks. Jinmu was consistently an issue, of course, primarily on the Pharah. But this is something I didn't expect. Amon gets subbed in here for map number 1.
Well, it's a substitution of Monk and Evilto back into the lineup and a change in terms of tank play. So you have Amon comes in for Gaga. This is really interesting because you see, they've done this at times, like in important spots. Put Amon in, try and get like a change of pace. I thought Gaga was good yesterday. I didn't think he was, particularly poor. I think there are a lot of odd support choices at times from Chengdu, which I think is just dictated by some of the stuff they want to play. Maybe this is a map-specific thing, at least here early on.
Look, I think this is a scary look if they are trying to play the sort of Pharah Mercy with the Ana combination, right? Yveltal has a reputation as one of the most electrifying Mercy players in the world, and we know what Monk can do, of course, on that Ana. We'll say that Farway looked really good on the Ana. Some incredible sleep darts here, so there's a lot of depth available to this roster. And Amon, of course, the quintessential Wrecking Ball player here to come in for Gaga. We can maybe discuss the comparison there. It's not a huge difference in terms of the raw stats, but for now, let's introduce their opponents. Of course, we kind of hinted at the start of this match, but it is the Dallas Fuel.
They're such an anomaly. They're one of a kind. They're so unique, you cannot prepare for the Dallas Fuel.
Dallas Fuel are operating on another level. This is a masterful machine with all of the cogs working in the right way. These mechanics. The mechanics! Oh my word! 6-man anti! 6-man anti!
Wow!
It's gigantic! Playing so aggressive!
What is that?
That is disgusting. Doha from the side! You've got to be joking! Today, those in burn blue, burn brightest!
Now, whether you're like Matt and you believe that this team is on the downturn, or if you think that their time is now, there's plenty of reason to get excited about seeing the Dallas Fuel take to the field, Matt. This is a team, of course, that has seen no changes over the course of this season, outside the occasional inclusion of Rappel, but they've pretty much nailed down all of their roles at this point. Sparkle, of course, one of the top DPS players in the world, and Doha also features in the top 5. I mean, you've got a lot of low numbers here in terms of these teams' ranking.
And I'm not saying that Dallas has kind of turned into a lackluster team per se. What I'm saying is that I feel like a lot of other teams have gotten way better from where we were at the beginning of the season. And maybe, Dallas Fuel adjusted, picked up the metas that we saw a lot this year early on, and the other teams have now been able to play those for an extended period and gotten on an even footing. Would I be surprised if the Dallas Fuel win this? No, I still favor the Chengdu Hunters, even though I'm a little bit concerned with how we are coming out here, with Eamon on the tank to kick things off. I think I definitely want to see what that provides.
Of course, Lijiang Tower is going to be our first map in this series, and look, if we discard the last time we saw these two teams, and the reason I suggest that is because it was in a sort of a hero pool meta, or there was a really dominant meta at the time. Now feels like it's a little bit more map dependent and up to the sort of team's decision making. I want to remind everybody that we did see the Dallas Fuel play Wrecking Ball type compositions at times yesterday. It was on Volskaya Industries point A. I tweeted about it, obviously. People thought I was tweeting about a different composition and had no idea why I was mauling about it. But if it comes up, we can discuss it again. But Dallas has said, we've been trying to work on the stuff that we're bad at to shore up some of those more glaring weaknesses. Against the Hunters, you really have to feel like it's again an issue of trying to shut down that Wrecking Ball impact as much as possible while containing someone like Leave and Jinmu. It has to be both. It can't be one or the other, Matt.
Yeah, maybe you have Eamon in here instead of Gaga, because we've seen him play ball in the past, and I would say he takes a little bit more less resources than Gaga. Plays very self-sufficient out on his own, and can kind of make plays. So maybe that's why he's in the game. Also, we've seen him play Orisa in the past and other tanks, so maybe they feel more confident with him on those certain roles. But it looks like Dallas Fuel, at least here at the start, going to be playing the ball composition with the Sombra and the Reaper, and it'll be Tracer Sombra for the Chengdu Hunters.
All right, crucially, Zen and Brigitte here as well. Dallas have a zombie composition, so they really want to punish Monk. Well, you mentioned that Eamon plays sometimes a little bit away from the rest of his team in a low economy manner. In that way, it was just unfortunately outpositioned.
Yeah, a little bit too far in front of everybody. May even get caught with a hack there before he's taken out.
And there's no Discord orb, so that's a lot of damage that you need to get rid of Wrecking Ball, regardless.
I'm actually surprised these two players stay in the corner and want to continue to fight this. I thought the rest of Chengdu was going to back out with them, and that would have been the better decision there, as Dallas is going to clean house.
Yeah, Fearless doing, look, everything you had to there. Really, just make sure the Hunters are contained in that corner. It's a really solid pile driver. And for every second the Hunters are held aloft, they're sort of, dazed and confused. That's when Sparkle's getting into the back line or approaching a key target and dispatching.
What's also interesting about the support line now in for Chengdu is we did see Faraway and Nisha play this yesterday. So maybe they saw something with their tanks and supports they were not happy with last night with the bots. They decided to make this change.
Fielder had to fade away. There he goes for the Mega, but was already hacked by Jinmu. Leaves able to find the Pulse Bomb kill on Fielder as that fade was not on deck. But Sparkle's done a good job as well. It's all Leave right now in this fight, at least as far as the kill feed's concerned. Look at how Jinmu sets him up. 2 hacked health packs in this vicinity means Leave can just cycle between those and constantly stay healed up.
Yeah, but there's so much here for the Dallas Fuel to keep this going. That'll be Jinmu only getting 1 with his EMP. Just connects with Fearless. You're going to have Fielder used to Coalescence. Rally popped, but that's going to be... it looks like the EMP broke up there, so Doha not able to get it off.
That shield bash there from Invelta was perfectly timed, but the sound barrier is still going to work for the Dallas Fuel. They've got a Death Blossom, but they're holding it in reserve for the time being, but Sparkle's threatened by Leave, and he's dispatched ultimately. Speaking of which, Pulse Bomb available here for Leave now, as Dallas have still maintained control for much of this round, and that's what Wrecking Ball's going to offer you on these control maps, right? So hard to get the Dallas Fuel off. Even in a winning fight, Chengdu have to dig deep to clear the point.
I mean, Leaves had to get, it feels like, 10 kills here to get this point back, and It's also there's something with having the Lucio and the Moira, right? You mentioned the Wrecking Ball for stall, but the Lucio and the Moira are really good for the stall as well. So Chengdu finally gets the point back. Let's see from Doha's POV. I mean, that is...
You're asking for it.
Yeah, I mean, you're just walking directly at the brig.
That's a slam dunk for Yveltal. He doesn't even think twice about that. Judgment area there for sure. Amon hacked. He's in danger. Taken down instantly. Sparkle is the cat amongst the pigeons right now, and Leaves trying to do the same thing on the other side of the map. He is well entrenched in the back line of the field, but somehow the Hunters have allowed the point to get flipped.
They lost Lijiang as well early on,
oh, dear.
So you had no D.Va to contest. That'll be 2 kills for Dallas, as Leave is still here alive. They've never been able to kill Leave. It's just he's not been able to do enough on his own.
Yeah, I don't even think Leave has died at all, Matthew. Amon gets caught there, though.
He's got another
from
pulse
Doha.
bomb kill.
Yeah, Jex is picked off, and how much does one person have to do to try and keep their team in it? They have another rally here and a minefield to work with, but walking into a coalescence from Fielder, and he pops it straight away. Lijiang is going to have to walk away to get a chance to get back in his mech, but Yveltal and Monk are taken down. Even with the rally, it's not enough. Dallas Fuel now getting a lot of mileage out of their own Wrecking Ball look, but Leave is still a constant threat. A one-man army. It's going to take more than that.
Well, they'll have Lijiang be able to get on the point. You still have Jinmu here as well. Leave in the fight, but sound barrier available for the Dallas Fuel. This could be big.
Lijiang going to be desuited there. Han Bin probably following suit soon. If it wasn't for Jexa fighting the sound barrier, it's such a great time. Leave and Jinmu trying to make this work now. Pulse Bomb, another one available for Leave. The Dallas Fuel have not been able to stop him right now. They're just hoping to ignore him, and that's seems like a pretty fatal error. Look at that EMP. It's perfect from Jinmu, connecting with 6. And, of course, the Transcendence to follow up. This is an insane individual showing from Leave.
Double kill with the pulse bomb there, then a beat down, another kill here on Hanbin to finish things off, as he has gotten off to a fantastic start. You know, if he doesn't play the way that he's played on this point, we are already at the next one. This is a Dallas Fuel of 1-0. I mean,
is there anything built into this composition to do anything about Leave? Yeah, I mean, you're not walking away from that. You can't translocate out as Doha, you're hacked.
There's nothing really. I mean, you're kind of trying to hack him? Yeah.
Guess they can't. EMP there. Okay, Doha slept, but the EMP's still able to come out there. Monk not able to stop the Sombra, and that could be a huge problem here for the Hunters. Fielder hoses Lijiang down. He might be hacked and unable to fade away, and leaves him a little bit of a present. But it's just Leave. God, that's been the story of this round. He's going to have to move up on the point to try and stall things out, and he gets Doha. He's in a 1 versus 4, and he still finds a kill. He can't quite get away. That might have been his first death for the entire round, Matthew. And Dallas finally triumph. My God.
Yeah, and you know, if you're Chengdu, you can't really kind of rely on those type of performances, point in, point out across the entire series. You have to get more elsewhere. But if you're Dallas, you win a situation like that where the enemy team's Tracer just kind of does what he wants the entire time, but you're able to still win it. You feel pretty good about your chances going into this next point and throughout the rest of the series.
Here's Jinmu throwing that translocator back. Chased down by Doha. Looks like the translocator might have been removed. It's hard to say. Either way, huge kill there.
Nothing really too different here. Nope, nothing really different at all. We'll see the same compositions from both sides come out. Looks like a quick fight over this health pack. You see the Dallas Fuel, they use that speed boost, get over there, control that Mega first.
Leave actually gets his recall forced really early, and I think it was actually by Fearless catching him into the corner. Look at this aggression from Dallas. They know that they can really dominate these close quarters, these tightly packed corridors, especially with the Reaper. And they do just that. Leave, of course, gets fielded, but this could be Fleto deadlift territory, Matthew.
Yeah, and I'm a bit confused why we're seeing Chengdu vary so much from yesterday, right? Especially when they go into their match yesterday against Atlanta when they see Kai on the other side, who's a very strong hit scan player, and they decided to play the far into it. They have no hit scan for the Dallas Fuel, and they decided to not play the far today.
Again, Lijiang Tower maybe not fancying that particular composition. Against a team that doesn't run hit scan like Dallas, you'd think they'd be a little bit more inclined to run it, but ever inscrutable of the minds of the Hunters. I feel he gets picked off way at the start of that fight there. Looks like he was hacked by Jinmu and solo killed entirely, and now he's here to stall.
Just gets on for a second, so Chengdu gonna have an advantage here for this next fight. Dallas going to have to come through this choke. You have EMPs on both sides. Now, Chengdu in a little bit of better position in terms of support ults, right? You're going to be able to hide, whether it's Monk or Yveltal, being able to get off a rally or Transcendence to counter this EMP. No sound barrier or coalescence built up by Dallas yet.
Now, we need to see something big from Doha here in this EMP, Matthew. A little bit of a quiet first round, I've got to be honest. There's that EMP. No support's caught with that, but Amon can't get away. And Chengdu may be disincentivized to use those ultimates until the fighting happens on the point, and that's now.
It's so odd though, because they don't get either supports and they wait so long to get the support ults off. Now everything dunked in. Sound barrier here for the Dallas Fuel. They may outlast Chengdu.
Jax are in position for a potentially nasty boop right now. It's off cooldown. Doesn't quite get it. Leaves able to recall before falling off the side of the building, and Jackson now has gone a little bit too far. The Wrecking Ball though, Fearless has gotten two. The environmental kill potential from this Dallas lineup is nasty, and Fearless follows up where Jackson could not. That's what the Dallas Fuel needed to take this point back. Again, ever present in his lead, looking for an opportunity as always to take things into his own hands, but the Coalescence will deny an opportunity.
And Chengdu kind of, they accomplished their goal, right, of not having the supports get hit by that EMP, but the supports, I think, were actually just playing so far away that they were never able to get in position, so they're forced to use the support ults on the point. The sound barrier is good enough to keep the Dallas Fuel alive, a few players alive, to let Fielder get back with the Coalescence to flip the point.
On an individual level, Fearless has looked extremely good on the Wrecking Ball today. We've seen Dallas try it before, even before these playoffs, and it was middling at best. Now it's looking like it might be growing into something special. Now the pulse here, Believe, looking for the Moira. Fielder stands a little bit too close there. I guess only the coolest guys stay and look at the explosions. He gets taken down, but there's plenty to work with here for Dallas, and Doha's able to hack lead to prevent him from getting away.
So you can open up this next fight if you're Chengdu with a rally and EMP. They need to be able to capitalize on this, though, because it's really going to be their last opportunity. Look for Sparkle to be huge here for Dallas Fuel. Even if he gets caught with those, and whether it's the EMP or something else, he's still going to be able to battle with the Reapers.
Hanbin notes Leave on that right-hand side. Jinmu comes in with the EMP and catches Fielder. Is that enough? A manual hack on Hanbin as well, make it harder to stave off the damage, header for the backline. But Leave is actually the first casualty of this fight. Utterly uncharacteristic, but he gets targeted by Doha and hacked. Lijiang's going to be knocked up inside the minefield there, but there's plenty of healing with Monk's Transcendence in play. Sound barrier was there for Jexa as well, but there's no cheeky environmental kill opportunity presenting itself right now, and so the Fuel meekly did ground.
Yeah, and Dallas realizes there's not an opportunity to fight this here. There's no EMP on the other side. There's no support ults. You back out. You have a self-destruct, your own Coalescence, and a Death Blossom. Maybe Sparkle can get a TP up top or behind enemy lines to get that off, because you do have a lot of good ultimates to be able to flip this. It's going to be the Coalescence. Yeah, and Amon's in trouble.
Time and time again, Amon's getting hacked and focused down. The Hunters have been unable to protect him because he's playing the low economy role, and the EMP follow-up will be there in spades. Sparkle uses it to dig the grave for Yveltal, and he'll have this Met 2. Self-destruct for Lijiang, and that is, oh my, that guy is so smart. He's able to hide behind the mech and actually get it back there, even though he was in a 1v1 against Sparkle. He outsmarts him entirely.
EMP.
Jinmu translocates out though. Not in position here. Vulnerable times for Chengdu, but they're in the lead. Pulse Bomb connection doesn't find the kill, but it's going to be 4 plays here with the EMP and Doha with the Discord on him, but Yveltal is down again. Sparkle finds a crucial kill. Discord Orb on Fearless, but Monk is also down and there's no healing left for the Hunters. They've run out of juice. Leave has to recall there, but Lijiang's lost his mech, and it's now Amon and Leave against the world. And the shoulders are not broad enough to carry such a burden. Another translocate from Jinmu means he's left the point in the round, and the map goes to the Fuel.
And Jinmu gets a 5-player EMP, but does not connect with Sparkle. So when they go in, the Reaper on the point with all of his abilities, able to just do tons of damage, gets Yveltal early on, which is the break for the Chengdu Hunters, which is a huge kill.
It's taken all season, but it looks like the Fuel have been able to integrate the Wrecking Ball play really quite seamlessly. Well, quite seamlessly into this zombie composition, Matthew. Fearless looks very, very good. He's doing to Chengdu what they've done to other teams all year long. Now the Hunters realize that maybe their secret weapon has been adopted already by the Dallas Fuel. It's an early lead for the Fuel, but plenty of maps to play. Don't go, everybody. This is the 2021 Overwatch League playoffs.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Who's that DPS? It's Leave!
Leave has been consistently one of the strongest DPS players in the entire league. Chengdu can rely on him to go above and beyond. Leave already with the post-bomb kill. How often have we seen that? He's turning fights that shouldn't be turnable. Leave is the better tracer right here.
Pulse bomb out from Leave. Leave continues his assault.
Leave is just putting this team on his back and carrying them.
What is that? The blink into the melee. Sparkle turned into a firework as he pulses away. He's a monster. And Leave comes to the rescue. This guy is something else, Matt.
None of that should happen for Leave. That was just a pure hero play coming out.
Gets booted off, but he still gets to sleep in the process. They're cleaning up this point, and it's Leave getting
so
a
good.
4K.
A hack on Fleta. He drops off the edge. Perfect stuff there from Leave.
Leave is popping off. He gets a 3K.
What an absolute force of nature Leave is. He just dictates the entire flow of battle. That is absurd! Leave fights the headshot on Birdring before he can get the EMP away. It's gone to waste, Matt! He is an absolute animal. Every single team fight, he's just having the most impact out of everyone on the server.
out of 36 Chengdu final blows on Lijiang Tower, Leave is credited with 21 of them. This is no longer a Herculean effort, Matthew. This is Atlas holding the literal world up.
Yeah, and there were some people who were like, well, why would he be the MVP? It's like, you don't see anybody else doing this for their team in the, semifinals of the winter bracket tournament.
It's having a consistently outsized performance and impacting.
Yeah, and I think it was Johnny yesterday on the desk who mentioned, like, I think MVP kind of means something different to everybody, right? Where is it do you perceive it to be the best player in the world? Do you perceive it to be the person who had the highest impact for their team throughout the year? I think there's lots of different ways that you could look at it.
Yeah, to me, it means Mitch very pretty. So, we're all different.
I mean, that is even
so,
holding that one.
What's so great about it?
Well, Gaga's in for Eamon. So Eamon was a one-map experiment thus far.
Gaga's pretty too.
We are still with the support line from today. So Monk and Eviltal yesterday, far away, and Nisha played mostly for the Chengdu Hunters. And now we've seen them pick Anubis a decent amount of the time. This time they were going to pick Volskaya as this next map. So Gaga back in. This is one where you probably want like his flexibility to play some Winston, potentially. And that's probably why he ends up in the game.
So I was talking to Harshley the other day. He's got some time. He's watching some games. And yeah, he mentioned that obviously, maybe Dallas is not the team you expect to see playing Wrecking Ball before yesterday, but on point A, you can get snowballed pretty hard on this map if you lose the first fight. So being able to stall out with the Wrecking Ball and stay alive and not get blown up instantly is something that teams tend to value a fair bit. So while we might see the Winston from Gaga, we should expect to see it, right? Especially on point B and such. A switch between them from A to B is definitely on the cards. Shout out Harsha. Shout out Around the Watch Gang, circa 2017.
Shout out everybody. Anybody else you want to shout out?
Yeah, the Gloucester Massive.
Gloucester
Massive. I didn't know. All right, here's the Hunters though, and they are playing the Wrecking Ball on point A, Matthew. Now, I've got to be honest, Amon got exploited big time on that first map. Yeah. Focused down, constantly hacked, and then just blown up by Sparkle.
I do think though it's like difficult, especially for late young Jinmu and Leave to kind of have this rotation now of Eamon in today map 1, Gaga in map 2, Gaga in all series last time, new support line. It's clear at least today they value putting Leave on the Tracer, Jinmu on the Sombra early on to combat what Dallas is trying to do.
It could be the anti-ball play as well, primarily. I think being able to hack Reaper is nice. For sure, but less likely.
Yeah, you're trying to punish like Fearless's ball here, I think.
Fielder especially.
Yeah.
If you get a hack on the Moira, it is game over.
But that also, without playing the Pharah or like an Echo or something, then you can have Monk come in and play the Zen, right?
All right, here come the Wrecking Balls all through the high ground here as Dallas have really been able to move in, and that's a broken shield. Oh, if Eltal actually though is going to be shepherded as safety. Gaga not so lucky as Harbin sends him careening off the edge into the icy water. Lei Young has a hacked health pack behind Harbin, but he was body blocked away from getting it, so he loses his mech there as well. Good open from Dallas. These guys may have leveled up since yesterday, Matt.
Yeah, this looks dominant for Dallas Fuel thus far. That'll be a point A take. Man, I mean, EMP coalescence here for this next point. It is not looking good for the Chengdu Hunters, I'll tell you that. I mean, can't lose your main tank that early again. Gaga, first player dead. I think he gets knocked off the side here.
Oh, he can't get back up. Oh, the second
it's the drive-by. It's the drive-by from Hanbin.
Gatted from the Lamborghini. You hate to see it. You hate to see it.
That's what Hanbin thought as he drove by.
Yeah, he's in the 305 now, baby.
It's the only area code you know outside of your own, probably.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, that's true. It's not going to deny it. All right, here's the coalescence now. Again, Dallas worked their way to the backline now of the Hunters, and Doha trying to find a way to interpose himself in amongst the Hunters, but he doesn't get there. Not a great start for Dallas, and they don't get a lot of value from that coalescence.
No, and I wonder if they were trying to maybe force out some of the ults. Maybe they thought there was like maybe they thought that Jinmu had an EMP and he's going to counter EMP when they went in and just kind of playing for a longer fight. But yeah, I mean, Doha never really got a position to use the EMP. There was never like a fight that coalesced around the point. Everybody kind of spread out the high ground, a lot of places to block the LOS. So it doesn't end up using that there, but you end up using the Coalescence, and you're going to be running into double support ult here. So Chengdu, quite fortunate that that fight didn't go exactly as planned for Dallas.
Hey there.
Dallas stand to lose at least 90 seconds here. At this rate, you really just want to get it on with and start making the push. Forcing Jinnu out of position, unlikely to amount to much as he's healed up instantly. All right, Doha. What exactly are we looking for today?
EMP
An Omnic Monk, perhaps? A Shield Maiden? How about both? EMP connects and Monk is down. Yes, Eviltal's not able to keep him alive. And Doha sticks around. No one's really paying him much heed right now, and the sound barrier is thrown into the mix. Death Blossom from Sparkle now trying to blend up the Hunters. So far, so good. Very tenderized looking Chengdu here on the back foot. They're going to try and make the way to stall on the point.
And they still have this Transcendence. You're just waiting for players to get back. It'll be Monk getting on the point, using the Transcendence. Fearless gets stuck with a Pulse Bomb, but he's going to be able to live because you have the Coalescence now.
Yeah, bomb gets thrown over the backside there, and there might have been Eviltal's shield taken down. They can't push into the Coalescence at any rate. Monk is missing, and now the Hunters are trying to go in 1s and 2s. And even that's going to be a challenge. Lijiang can't even touch. That's a very respectable time. That's the kind of time that brings your daughter home before 10 on that first date, Matt. 3 minutes 30 on the clock.
Yeah, so, whether it's a slow start or this change of, the strategy and idea here for Chengdu, it is not working out this far. Dallas putting on a clinic. So they look good here today. So we'll see if they try to do anything differently on defense. But the way they've looked, I would not even mess with that.
Even though they try and start that fight on point B with the Coalescence and they push up the back causeway, look, they don't use much more than that, so you might have been right. They might have been trying to force some action. They don't get it, but they still know, all right, well, 2 support ultimates meet my EMP.
You get Coalescence so fast as well. So, okay, so they'll play the Zen Brig here, which makes sense because you're not going to be able to play as close and kind of around the central point here, so you get the Zen with the Brig.
Of course, our Pick'em Live trivia is still happening at the moment at live.overwatchleague.com, and you can answer who leads all of OWL with over 1,500 final blows this season. That's a tough one. I think.
What are the choices?
It's Fletter, Pelican, Leave, and Sparkle. I want to say Leave. I want to say Leave. I don't think it's Fletter.
Yeah, I think it would maybe
Sparkle. One of those two.
Yeah.
Because I think the power rankings indexes people's final blows pretty heavily. Like, it leans on that a lot. And Leaves rank, what, 9, I think?
I believe so.
Flatter is in the teens, if I'm not mistaken.
Could be Pelican.
Could be. Right. The Hunters here. Get the Wrecking Ball into the backline. So we don't see that right now, but Gaga's obviously made his way in.
Where they're trying to figure out where the supports are. You see, Gaga goes to the left. Now he knows they're up on the high ground. Can they make a play for them though? Nice defense matrix used there from Hanbin.
Yeah, also a Girl Scout cookie dispensed there by Jexer to make sure Fielder doesn't get blown up. I mean, look at the peel for the backline is incredible. So Gaga walks into a hack there. Jinmu's trying to get Doha right now, and he is hacked on top of the truck. He's got nowhere to go. Good response and good trade, but this is where Sparkle just gets to launch in. Look at him. He's so focused, he's not moving a muscle. This takes years of training. You have to sit in ice baths in the Himalayas for days at a time to achieve this kind of stillness.
Yeah, he's very focused at the moment.
Someone sheepishly just changes the scene.
Put it back, I dare you. You won't do it. So, that's a pulse bomb.
Beautiful.
All right, so Sparkle.
See, he's ice cold, baby.
Yep, there we go. Get him right back up there. It's not moved an inch.
Circular breathing, all that jazz.
This is it's so difficult, you see, for Chengdu to be able to figure out really where to go, right? They want to put pressure onto Fielder. But he's playing so far out. You saw where he was on the stairs there, right? If you go to the high ground, you're not going to see him. He almost just pops out as soon as there's pressure on the point. There's no really neat reason for the healing other than that.
Leave looking dangerous, but
they know where he is now.
Okay. Pulse bomb there is waiting for a chance to get the DC on Hanbin. Self-destruct, Hanbin resuits, EMP comes in though, and Fielder never had a chance to use that Transcendence. Still, I mean, unreal. Hanbin got back in the mech.
Yeah.
And he goes after Leave.
And you just traded Zens in this, right? You traded Zens. You have a health pack advantage in terms of the hacks in favor of the Dallas Fuel with that Mega to play with. And they have just pushed on through. They're going to get these kills. Do you get Fielder back fast enough? It looks like he's making his way, so you'll have him for this next fight. No opportunity to take advantage of that kill for Chengdu. Now you don't have an EMP. We're a minute 20 on the clock. You probably get another one here, but this may be your best opportunity if you decide to dump into this fight.
Again, Lee looking to make an opening. Perhaps a pulse bomb on the D.Va is not the play. Perhaps he needs an instant kill instead of a remake. It's almost certain that he's going to get a pulse bomb connection and he's going to build them quickly, but he needs to turn them into player advantages for the Hunters. Okay, here comes the Hunters again. Lijiang's hacked. Here's a pulse from Sparkle. No real connection there, and Gaga's controlling the high ground as much as he can. That Transcendence now is about to expire, and Fielders will last a little longer. Both teams have rally armor, and look at Fielder pushing up like a raid boss here. He knows he can get aggressive. Gaga throws in the pile driver, and Lijiang's looking for a kill. The D-suit here makes this a very awkward place to be, and Fearless can't get out of the room, but it's a trade once more. Fielder gets Monk, and Leaf's pulse bomb doesn't find the mark. Dallas are on their last legs in this fight, but they've burnt 3.5 minutes already.
I tell you what, that looked good for Dallas from the standpoint of they ended up having to use the Transcendence for Chengdu at the same time as the rally, and you had the Transcendence going for Fielder with the rally armor still attached. Just once you got in that small corridor, it was where Chengdu started to pick up some kills. So they'll finally be able to take point A, but with no time remaining on the clock.
And maybe Fielder got a little too aggressive there with that rally armor coming out of Transcendence.
Yeah.
Lijiang very cleverly identified him straight away as a prime target.
He sideshowed a bit. Got in there.
All right. So here, the Fuel stay on the Wrecking Ball setup. Suffice to say, they didn't get snowballed on point A. Doha now just trying to keep a respectable distance. He knows there's probably a Brigitte ult here.
And he's just relaying all this info to the team, looking for the translocator.
Oh, he'd love to be on that platform as well. He can't get there. Oh, okay, Heartbeat got caught there. Looks like he got hacked, and Gaga's able to knock him off the map. And now Operation Wall of Domination kicks into high gear for the Chengdu Hunters. EMP on Gaga.
That's just about tanks that are hit.
Yep. So Monk just deals with Doha pretty comfortably here. What does Sparkle do? He has to try and find an angle that he won't be seen from. But look at Lee controlling every access point to point B. He's not going to let him in. Pile driver here from Fearless, and of course the adaptive shields keeps him alive a while, but he's facing the entire fury of the whole Hunters team. Nice recovery here from Chengdu. A slow start map, but they're going to finish in style. They stick the landing here on point B. We've got more Volskaya to play.
And Dallas knew exactly where they were coming from, but it's a big kill from Gaga. It looks
Something
like
went wrong for Hanbin there.
A knockback on the Hanbin. And then also Lijiang actually ate Sparkle's pulse bomb that was coming in from the backside. So both those things happen at the same exact time. Doha only connects with both tanks with his EMP, gets taken out shortly after that. And there were some nice follow-up hacks by Jinmu when he pushed past the point. They were able to get a hack on the Jekse. After his EMP denied that he could actually come back with a rally. So when matters most, Chengdu clutches up there. That whole attack did not look great at the start, but they finished off strong on point B.
Great stuff from the tanks of the Hunters, and we can see that Gaga is definitely not getting exploited to the same degree as the Wrecking Ball did in map number 1 for the Hunters. Of course, Dallas are playing without a Reaper, which can make a difference. Here's how this went down. Hacked, chased down.
He tried to get backwards, yeah.
Strike. I was wondering, if Lijiang didn't spy check that, so... I see. Nicely done. Obviously, Doha is saying, hey, if you can get a pulse bomb on this platform,
right,
you're going to hit the jackpot. Very nicely done. So yeah, that was really Gaga and Lijiang with a huge showing. Now, do we get double bubble here from the Hunters? What would this be the first time this whole playoffs we've seen it?
Double bubble with the Sombra Cowboy. See if they actually decide to go with this. This is an interesting look, and like I mentioned, this is maybe why you had Gaga in the game to try and play something like this.
This is Lijiang's wheelhouse, man.
Yeah.
Zaya. Dallas probably see this, but definitely respecting a little bit, at least the potential to get blown up by Desire. Nice pile driver. Lijiang has to give a bubble a bit of leave.
This is escort leave into position. That's what they're trying to do here.
Look, I mean, Dallas don't have a lot of poke damage, right? So it's hard to punish this Zarya, I think, for standing out in the open at length. But Fearless just assassinates Yveltal. Watch those fan the hammers, they're scary, and yeah, Fearless got a little bit too close. So much damage from this Hunter setup.
And it's also very hard for Dallas to get in and dive the McCree, because he obviously has the role of the Flash on his own, but also the Zarya bubbles now, the biotic grenades. That was a nano. Did that go to leave and he didn't get the benefits of it?
Oh, well, I mean, Lijiang is, charged up. Jexa gets heavily singed, but now with the EMP in play, Lijiang has no shielding. He does have a lot of damage output to rely on, and that was a beautiful sleep dart there that I believe connected with Fearless, but the grab, well, there's nothing there to work with, and the Hunters just fall short of taking point A.
20 seconds, though. 2 ticks. You're going to have a Deadeye here. You'd have loved to have that nano or even the graph back. So, who is going to be able to touch here? Looks like Jinmu is actually behind the point. Stealth.
Yeah, you can see Han been trying to spy check.
Is Jinmu going to touch? Okay, there it is.
Jinmu touches, minefield thrown down. Dangerous time for the Hunters here. Lijiang takes a pretty big hit from that. Oh no, it was gonna be a Hunter's play. Lee gets the kill on Doha there.
I got scared when I saw the way that, like, Jinmu had touched at the final second. It looked like him and Gaga went at the same time, and then as soon as that minefield went down, everybody ran away.
That is devastating for the Hunters. They get such a crucial kill. They kill the Sombra.
Positive is they get 2 ticks. Well, what? They get up to 99, actually. Okay, so you get up to 99, 3:30 on the clock for the opponent. What, 3 holds here? You know, gives you a chance.
How are you feeling about Dallas's trajectory now?
Oh, much better than I originally had anticipated. I think, like what we saw from Atlanta against Justice, I think Atlanta's a very strong team. I think Chengdu is good as well. Let's take a look at this here.
He had to translocate away.
So yeah, he translocated away.
Oh, Gaga turned?
No, I think Gaga actually thought he had touched.
He might have.
Because the way, you see the way he backs up towards the point? It looked like he was trying to put his back onto the point, touch to do damage, and then turn back, but...
I guess Gaga wasn't busting enough, huh? A couple more squats, you know what I mean?
Lord.
He needs more cake, Matt!
And all the materials coming out.
You kidding? You don't want to run out of it, right? All right, so Dallas, 3.5 minutes here. They do need to cap point B. Excuse me, point A. Decent hurdle to climb. They're working with the Reaper now, so they do want to exploit the ball. Oh my, no, that's not it. Jinmu gets hacked, and he gets run down. Sparkle now feels a little bit more comfortable about playing in the open, but definitely should still be respecting Monk. All right, whip shot there, sent the Diva back from whence he came, but look at the coordination. Yeah. Sparkle and Doha are there at the same time, and they are of one mind. Focus down the Wrecking Ball. Eviltal is able to put up a valiant, valiant response. But it may not be enough here. The pulse bomb dropped by Lee. Can he make something happen now? Doha's a little bit low. He's got a hack health pack on the point. Lijiang's going to be there as well. Look at this. Poetry in motion. Leave has got the quill in his hand.
It looked very good there for the Dallas Fuel with the kills they were getting, the coordination. Just not enough as Leave and Lijiang really are the ones there to keep this going. Lijiang without a mech, they have to play so much more careful, Chengdu. Like, you cannot lose Jinmu, you cannot lose Gaga, like, right at the start of these fights, because Dallas is so well coordinated with the speed and being able to get the Reaper in a position. Those are almost guaranteed kills.
Lijiang goes for the remake inside the door. I was hoping for something there. Okay, Fearless. Drops his payload over the point. Jinmu was a hack health pack to fall back on, but Monk didn't have such a luxury. Fielder lets it go now. And I think the Hunters this time are out of luck, Matt. They lose Monk and Eviltal both with those support ultimates, and they need them so badly right now. Who's there to touch, if anyone? Looks like Leave had to recall, and his position has been noted. He gets back, touches, plays a hacked health pack. Stick is there. Fearless takes a huge bit of damage, but it's going to need more. Gaga steps up and he's hacked straight away. Now the EMP comes in, he's blown up instantly though, and the Dallas Fuel take away Volskaya Industries.
they are looking clean today. I mean, you can see the coordination with the hacks, the Reaper getting into position. Everything is on point for the Dallas Fuel. They've really leveled up like in a championship mode where I think Chengdu, they're kind of still playing like this is a first round game. You know, this is a very important match, a winner final on the line, right? To get there, Dallas kicking it up a notch.
Those uncertain aspects of Dallas's play, right? It's the fearless wrecking ball. It's Doha's continued efficacy on the Sombra. Those have been at least answered over those first two maps. Both of those aspects look to be working perfectly. Dallas on the brink here of heading to the winners bracket final. A strong showing from them and the Hunters. We know they've always got something up their sleeve. Do they have, though, the right answer? Stay around and you're bound to find out.
손으로 찾았어 오른쪽 트레 한 명만 손으로 마킹해 수야 거점셋 비례 나이스 영화 스포트 없었지 언제?
The Overwatch League is brought to you by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
are dropping some serious loot for Grand Finals this year. Be sure to tune in to the Watchpoint pre-show on September the 25th at 4:45 p.m. Pacific to earn the exclusive Grand Final spray, 6 Overwatch League skins, and 100 League tokens. That's right, we're going to be there. We're going to be sat in the voice channel waiting, to see who comes out and wins. So, obviously, hopefully you're tuning in as well. Watchpin's been great this year as well. I don't really know we need to incentivize it, but be there.
Yeah, and somebody's got to get those for us. I mean, we can't obviously watch the broadcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Damn, if only we had friends.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough out here.
All right. I mean, I guess we might as well just carry on and cast this game, Matt.
But how will people recognize it's me without my owl skins in ranked?
They'll know because...
they'll know because it's a quick loss.
They'll see you on the right side of the kill feed, my guy. That's all I'm trying to say.
See me running towards their spawn.
All right. Faraway 1987 is subbed in for Monk, and you will also see, of course, Nisha in for Yveltal.
So we're back to kind of square one.
Yes.
We're back to where we started at yesterday.
Unless that's square two and what we saw was square one.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I think with the map selection, so the map will be Eichenwalde. This is, I think, like the first time we're not going to King's Row.
Right.
This is one where some more verticality. Do you have to play the Zen with the Brig? Can you play some Fara Mercy here, then maybe bring in the Ana into the mix? Not sure. If they bring them into play, the Zen and the Brig, it's kind of odd why they made the move after, they get the win yesterday.
Right. Well, it's unclear if that's even why they brought them in as well. It could also be just like... Here's what I think. When you come into a non-hero pool meta, you have now all the maps to practice. You have to practice all or at least the ones in the pool, right? Which is quite a few. And it's a lot for one specific practice squad to cover. So it could be a map-specific decision here.
It's not hard for the Dallas U to cover.
Well,
they're not bringing anybody in.
Yeah. I mean, they're eating their Wheaties, man.
Atlanta Rain ain't bringing anybody in.
Point taken.
Shanghai not bringing anybody in. I mean, you don't have to. We can take a look at the Xfinity map leaderboard here. Fuel versus the Shock. That was set this year. So Dallas with some good performances on this map as of late. And this is a bit of a deviation, I think, for Chengdu. In the series against Atlanta, they played King's Row. Map number 2, I believe they played Anubis, so a little bit of a different series here again.
Well, I mean, the Hunters are in a position where they get to select all these maps, so I guess there's a degree of luxury to that. But Dallas, I think... Look, I don't think they feel bad at all about playing Eichenwalde. I think it's going to be a map where they are happy to... We've seen them play this a bunch. I also think it caters well to like their Lucio-centric style of play, if that's where they want to go.
I think the question more is, what do we see from Chengdu? I would love to know the idea behind some of their substitutions today. I think after yesterday, a little bit odd at times. So it looks like for Chengdu, you'll have Nisha and Faraway playing the Zen Brig. So we'll see them with the Zen Brig, and it'll be Jinmu on the Torb. So a very odd setup, because you have Torb McCree, which typically, like, Torb McCree works, right? But you would play that like Orisa Diva, with like an Orisa Diva with a BAP, right? Something that's a little bit more bunker stationary oriented. You wouldn't exactly, like, Torbjorn McCree doesn't exactly go with like the Zen Brig, right?
The two halves of different compositions, I think.
Yeah.
Now, look, Chengdu happy to play hybrid map. It's their best map type by a decent margin. Almost a 70% win rate across all of them.
That's going to change. It's probably going to be a ball composition.
The Doomfist.
Oh, so you're going to see... Okay, they're going to keep the Winston. Fearless is going to go back. Nope. All right, so they're going to play Doom. Interesting. So that they don't want to play the Reaper against the McCree and the Torb. Maybe because there's no, like, immortality, there's no Batiste. Do you feel like there's an opportunity for some, huge just one-shot potential? Or no Orisa to halt back or fortify? Some decent targets.
I still think it's interesting. Because you're still dealing with Flash and Torb. Turret's still just as annoying for Doomfist as well.
Right.
Nice maneuvering here from Dallas. This is good shot calling by their in-game leader actually to be able to do this. But there's that flash. Sparkle gets out though.
Right into the Winston bubble.
Harmon is extremely low though. Gaga now He too clings to life, but yeah, Spark was able to find Gaga with the seismic slam. It's going to be messy whichever way you slice it, but Leave is still alive, and that's bad news for Dallas.
Yeah, it's how that first push does not work out for the Dallas Fuel. I think I'm a little bit in the same vein as you. Not really sure why the Doomfist, just kind of trying to come up with reasons of why. Jexy kills Leave on the way out, excuse me? That is a long-range kill from the Lucio, and now you have everybody back.
Just a slight miscalculation there from Leave might cost him dearly. Molten Core's going to be used now, but Dallas are really unlikely to be bothered by that at all. And look at this, they're not trying to cap right now. They drop Jexa down to the point. They'll wait for this to clear. Sparkle's in a dangerous spot. He can seismic slam straight on in, and then rising uppercut straight out. Good spot to be right now. There's the pile driver on the coalescing Moira. But it's going to be Nisha picked off first. Farway has to go for the Transcendence here, but Sparkle can still get an insta-kill despite that. I think he runs into Lijiang on the way through there. But again, look, the changes. His cooldowns recover so quickly now, of course, in this form. Meteor strikes back into the fight, but the pole got in his way. He's in trouble, but he still finds Leave with the slam. That's crazy.
And that is a difficult kill, right? Doom versus Tracer. You don't really favor the Doomfist in that scenario. So what is Chengdu's response?
Yeah, the Reaper guy, 100%. You don't play Doomfist against us anymore, no way.
Yeah, no. Once you get to this part of the map, we take a look here from Fearless's POV. Any opportunity for Fearless to be able to play Winston, they are going to take that all day. So when we go back in the game, what do we... So Chengdu will have the Tracer Sombra here this time. So interesting, they bring in Gaga and the supports from yesterday to play the same compositions that we saw them try and play earlier on.
It's insane how powerful Rally is, plus Inspire healing. Dallas tried to dive Nisha there. His health bar barely moved. Doha's able to work down both tanks in the middle of the fight, though, and that means there's still a chance for Dallas now, especially with the Coalescence. But Leave won't be silenced. Again, just doing this insane thing where he just basically goes 1v6. Might even be stronger than the Reaper guy. And the Discord Orb as well would have made the D.Va easy to work down, but Harmon's able to skitter away for the time being, or not. Stick catches him there, and Leave is everywhere at once.
Yeah, but you do still have players coming back off the spawn, and when Dallas sees this composition, they have Fearless go back to the ball. So this is something we know that is tried and trusted from the Dallas Fuel. That's going to be an EMP, going to connect with 3. Farway gets blown up instantly.
That's a big one, and a lot of Chengdu got caught by the very edges of that EMP. Great placement from Doha, and that will secure some extra cart progress here.
Get the card about probably halfway towards the bridge before Chengdu able to come back and fight this. So look out for Sparkle, maybe like a TP behind the Death Blossom.
Play for flying.
Yeah, he's on high.
Okay, they know he's there. Lijiang obviously wasn't born yesterday. Doha gets picked out there. Looks like he was hacked. Jimmy really sets himself there in position. Nisha's gone down here. I guess that's why Sparkle wants to go for the Blossom there. There's no sort of shield bash available. Fearless on the ball now is starting to do work.
Oh, yeah, you lose Jexay there, but maybe you can still fight this with the Coalescence.
Jinmu has to be careful. Yeah, translocates out. Hacked health pack is there. Still, though, 5 players up for the Dallas Fuel. Now the EMP is actually dodged by Jexa. Unlikely he'll find himself a sound barrier here, though. Leave is down. What a first pick. Biotic Orb has to be thrown in here, but it's not nearly enough healing.
Self-destruct from Hanbin doesn't get much of anything, so Chengdu going to be able to hold on here. Jexay with a sound barrier for this next fight. The double support ult though for Chengdu. So Chengdu's actually put themselves in a good spot here, Mitch, in terms of the ultimates that they've built up to be able to get an extended hold. We can take a look as soon as he popped the Coalescence.
He's lost that straight away. Still the Biotic Orb is able to count, but he was a little too close there.
Yeah.
Gaga's hacked. He's down. Yep, no way he's going to get away from that one. I think he maybe thought he was in a safe spot, playing from sort of above the fuel. Gaga will be back quickly. Even with the nerfs to Wrecking Ball's ability to return to the fight super fast, Dallas aren't too sure where to find the Hunters right now.
I think they're trying to figure out how they should go about with this engage, because Doha getting very close to an EMP. You may want to lead with the EMP to get these support ults out.
2 sets of mines thrown down there, but Nisha again gets focused down. Early, EMP comes out, but there was already a Transcendence in play. The timing was curious from Doha, to say the least, but it allows him to knock Gaga off the edge. He had no way to grapple back up to safety. Gonna be a frustrating stall for Lijiang. There will be a couple Hunters players that might be able to filter on here if they dare to attempt it. And that's why the fuel push up to make sure that's not possible. They'll have 2 minutes to work with.
You know, you got to give it up. As far away now, he will fall. And that's scary. You can't play close up right now, right? You just have the brig healing, no rally available. Gotta give the Dallas Fuels some space. Man, the space they may gain here, Mitch, is going to get them around this corner. Coalescence again here with the EMP on the other side. That'll be the Coalescence that starts up. Does Jinmu try and use EMP? He does. He doesn't get the Moira, though.
But look, Sparkle is living inside this EMP, and he's not really bothered. He disengages briefly. They caught Lijiang anyway, so he's not too worried. He'll
they didn't get the
going.
Coalescence. They still had the full Coalescence there.
Sparkle goes into spawn now. Defense matrix is there, so Lijiang able to get back into the fight now, and Pulse Bomb is dropped on Han. Bin Sparkle's able to sidestep that and not get taken down. Dallas still have 6 players to work with, but no key ultimates at all. There's a Transcendence in the works for Chengdu, and they let that one go straight away. They're a very dangerous moment for Dallas, and so they're disengaged, Matt. Under a minute to go.
Yeah, they just back up slightly. You allow to build up towards another Cole. You're going to get a minefield here and an EMP, so really smart by Dallas. The counting of the ultimates of Chengdu has been perfect here for the Dallas Fuel. They know exactly when they have these advantages.
Now Dallas are about to get some of those of their own, Matthew. EMP, Coalescence, Sound Barrier, it's all going to be here. Let's see it used properly. Hilda goes very aggressive. He's in the back line with this one, and 4 players are hit by that EMP. Now, they're far away on Nisha, though, but they don't have key support ultimate, so they may as well have been hacked. Lijiang, that's going to throw that one on top of the cart, but Dallas are able to disengage away again. They're getting a lot of value out of Jaxa, understanding the flow of the game. And Nisha can't get that health pack. It's hacked. Leave drops himself on the point for the time being, but has to recall away. Now it's Gaga's turn to step up. Jinmu never was able to touch. He got slurped right on down. Even with an Orb of Harmony on him, the front-loaded damage from Dallas is undeniable. Sparkle there, it's a disco dance on the card to end the round, and Dallas have time in the bank.
I was going to say, they don't get them down to 0.5.
That could be really relevant.
Clock. Yeah. It's a pretty good defense there from Chengdu. They battled back really on the second portion of the map. We'll see if they play something different on offense to try and engage, some of these substitutions today. A game like this, with how they played against Atlanta and being able to take out Atlanta, obviously some different compositions for that match as opposed to this one. But still, I thought Far Away and Nisha played pretty good yesterday, in the roles that they were put in.
Absolutely.
And I didn't see any reason to, to have Gaga come out. So I think you can really look at this series and kind of question some of these moves.
Nisha getting picked off in a lot of these fights. Absolutely dove on by the Fuel. And, I mean, with an Ana here, the Hunters should expect a similar issue. Now, Dallas obviously, very different approach here. They'll actually have Fielder playing the signature Ana pick, potentially.
Well, let's see if this is actually what Chengdu decides to go with. Dallas, they'll play the Echo here on D. So, and they'll get a Winston in the mix.
Here's Leave in those final moments. Hacked by that EMP there. And again, as soon as that EMP comes down, if there's any way to remove Leave, you better believe that Dallas will trend in that direction.
So is this what Chengdu decides to roll with? They kind of get an idea of what Dallas is running. And it looks like they're going to commit to it. So we're going to see them. This is pretty similar to what they ran on Volskaya, except that without the Ana in the mix. So.
All right, well, let's see how the protection for the backline is going to be. Lijiang is no longer really able to peel in the same way, and not much he can do about Sparkle there. Fearless able to find Nisha first. Oh my! Ooh. He just got his flight cooldown available. Seconds too late. Lijiang given the biting grenade here, but is relatively well charged up, but has no personal. There it is. He gets blown up instantly.
Yeah, smart play by Dallas, knowing he doesn't have the personal, chase him down, isolate him, finish him off, because...
I mean, he had it. They just broke it straight away.
I mean, they just knew that they were going to be able to kill him before anything, and that's a huge win for Dallas, because you get Sparkle back in the fight after he just kind of flies off the side. Both Honest in that first fight do a great job building up to these nanos. See who it goes with. Now, you'd assume the Winstons for both teams, but...
No, Leave!
Yeah.
The Electric Cowboy! Deadeye, nothing there. Too easily shut down by the Diva, I feel. But Doha is removed. It looks like there was a hack found by Jinmu onto the Sombra. The Fearless is getting close to a Primal Rage. He's hoping to build it up here in the next few moments. Far Away is Yeah, he's out at sea there. Not much he could do about it. The Hunters are trying to do the same thing here, but the Dallas Fuel are just more durable, it seems.
And this is a composition that Dallas Fuel loves, right? But you worry about them when they have to play like a Wrecking Ball composition, or
well, I used to worry about
it. Yeah, but we haven't seen them play in a recent comp all year. When they can play this, Winston with Doha on the Sombra, they'll put anything else out there, and they are in good shape. Leave now goes over to the Echo.
Leave, probably the best Echo in the world, at least what we've seen from him. Nice lead. Yep, that's going to secure the kill on Fearless. Leave, a little low to the ground, but gets a pop-up from Lijiang. It's a duplicate of a diva for Sparkle.
He had to use it because he was so low. He got hit by the try-shot from Leave and some stickies. Then Leave goes in, finishes off him. So 2 in the fight after he switches over. First one onto Fearless is huge because Fearless has the primal to contest.
Here he comes. He's here. Doha, though. He's going to be sat on the car for the time being. Oh, my. What is that grab? That is...
They try and catch
Okay, they got Fearless. They did catch him, but he's still able to get work done. The rest of the Fuel are coming back in now, and Fearless is... Oh, he's a little ticked off about that, Matt. Put to sleep again. Rude Awakening, of course. Bionic Grenades. Sticky Bombs are there. But the Hunters have been slowed down on this take.
Did they use the EMP? Who did they even EMP?
Not a clue. Oh, dangerous Phoenicia. Bionic Grenade there. And asleep on Leave. He has the ultimate. Can they do anything about this? No. Dallas are too far away. The Hunters are in a good position here to capture properly. And Sparkle returns here on the Tracer. Doesn't want to go in the air battle against Leave, who's hacked again.
Yeah, and Sparkle's going to get Gaga, so this actually looks really good for Dallas. And look at how much time's left on the clock.
Leave's duplicating the Winston, but he can't get any purchase. No damage, no 3 Primal Rage. Sparkle recalls away, eluding him so far. It's monkey and mouse kind of stuff here. The Dallas are actually making themselves scarce enough to stay alive. Leave has to get out there. He'd run out of time and didn't manage to get a Primal Rage.
Rally available here from Jexa. This is huge.
Look at him, look at him calling. Look at him calling. He says, go forward with me. He's stunned up though, maybe a little bit too far again from Jexa. Backing up now. Han been a little bit low as well. Lijiang just going forward, but he loses his mech there. Doesn't go for the self-destruct either. It's a big EMP from Jinmi, but 3 players here with a Bionic Grenade from Fielder. That's devastating for the Hunters. They don't have burst healing either way. They can't get to the point. They weren't durable enough. They didn't have the health. And they lacked the confidence. And oh my word, the Dallas Fuel continue to find new levels. This time, it's a sweep against the Chengdu Hunters of all teams.
That is a statement win there for the Dallas Fuel. I think Chengdu, a lot of questionable decisions in terms of substitutions, really trying to figure out why some of those were made, but Dallas showed that they can obviously still play those Winston comps, but now also throw in some Wrecking Ball looks with Sparkle on the Reaper, and they were solid.
Yeah, it looked incredibly good, and were able to play a bunch of different comps, right? The Wrecking Ball comp felt above reproach. Fearless looked extremely good in that role. Sparkle again looks dynamic, and Hanbin is always getting involved in finding clutch kills. I think the defense we saw there on Eichenwalde A from Dallas was really indicative of their ability to play these long, broken down, skirmishy fights to utter perfection. I mean, we saw, I think Leave was sleeping at one point. Right? We slept out in the sky. He got hit with a nano at the time. There was an EMP in that moment from Jinbu. Where did that go? It's just, it just skipped off into the ether.
And I think that's the thing that scares you with Chengdu. I mentioned it a little bit earlier on. I actually thought they were gonna win this match. I thought they actually looked pretty good yesterday. Yeah. But you have aiming in from map 1, subs to the supports, right? They don't really adjust, and Dallas Fuel rocked them. Yeah, they were the better team by far.
We were bearish about Dallas. I just didn't look that they were completely comfortable right now amongst this field of players, but we digress. They're the winners here, and they're moving on to the upper bracket finals. An incredible feat in and of itself, but there's much more road for Dallas and Chengdu, respectively, to tread. Sure. Matt, let's talk about our player of the match here, presented by Xfinity, someone who has adopted a role that's going to allow Dallas to stay competitive, even with the weirdest and the strongest of teams. It's Fearless, the Wrecking Ball, out of the gates. Some incredible stuff from him, and look, we saw him try and play this hero late in the season before playoffs. It wasn't good. They didn't look comfortable. Fearless has really been putting in the hours to be able to take his Wrecking Ball play to the next level, and it shows. He's doing this to Amon, and he's doing it to Gaga.
Yeah, and he's it's something where maybe he gets caught out or whatnot, but not at all. And then once he gets back on the Winston, it is vintage Fearless. It's what he's so good at, and he was tremendous in this series for the Dallas Fuel, and he kind of plays like a lot of people are saying, well, what about Fearless for like MVP of the league, right? And I think when you ended the May Melee, yeah, he was probably in that position at that time. And then I think other players just kind of ascended throughout the year. And I think Dallas, like I mentioned, had a little bit of a rough go. But this was MVP Fearless here today. I mean, he was sick.
Listen, I mean, maybe it's a little bit harder to have that ridiculous impact, I think, on the game as opposed to like a Trace or an Echo right there. But I mean, I'm very impressed in Fearless's ability to pick up this Wrecking Ball that looks so good at it, because every team's trying to do it. Like Toronto really tried to do it. Philly picked it up and tried to make it work. The Gladiators also have Muse trying to make their Wrecking Ball happen, and tons of other teams have just not been able to do it. It's been very difficult for main tanks to adapt.
Yeah, you need a special type of tank to be able to do it, but then also you need the coordination with the rest of the team. I thought Doha did a great job today, getting numerous hacks that they were able to really kind of jump on with the Reaper specifically.
We've still got another game to come after this. It's going to be ridiculous. Incredible matchup. Before we get there, though, we definitely want to hear from the Dallas Fuel. We'll be getting a few choice words from Doha after Hibs team's victory here in his upper semi-final after the break.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Game Break. We're here joined now by Doha from Dallas Fuel. Doha, congratulations on your win. 도하 선수 인터뷰 응해주셔서 감사드리고 오늘 승리 너무나도 축하드립니다.
감사합니다.
Alright, now, as the Sombra player of the team, I'm guessing you're making the important calls because you have to hack and the team has to dive in with you. And also, not only that, you have to also look out for the EMP timing as well. Because of that, how do you set the tempo for your games? And what is your mentality as a Sombra player for the team? 첫 번째 질문은 이제 도하 선수가 달라스 팀의 솜브라 플레이어이기 때문에 아무래도 제가 봤을 때 좀 이렇게 중요한 브리핑을 담당하실 것 같아요. 당연히 해킹도 있고 뭐 또 EMP 타이밍도 봐야 되고 하기 때문에 좀 되게 중요한 역할을 맡고 있는데 그거로 인해서 좀 어떻게 달라스 퓨얼 팀의 좀 템포를 좀 도하 선수는 좀 어떻게 가져가는지 그리고 또 솜브라 플레이어로서의 좀 이렇게 멘탈이나 좀 어떤 생각으로 경기에 임하시나요?
일단 템포 같은 경우는 저도 템포를 자주 잡는데 일단 저희 팀 자체가 게임을 좀 잘하는 선수들이 좀 많아요. 그래서 뭐 제가 못 잡을 때는 우리 팀이 잡아주기도 하고 그래서 약간 빈틈이 없는 것 같아요. 제가 잡을 땐 제가 잡고 팀이 잡을 땐 팀이 잡고 약간 이런 식으로 해서 좀 네, 뭐 그런 식으로 굴러가는 것 같고 뭐 게임할 때 생각은 상대 공 뭐 있으니까 약간 뭐 네, 약간 기업 비밀이라 상대에 따라서 게임합니다. 네, 나머지 안 돼요.
상대 뭐라고요? 상대 말씀해주세요. 상대
플레이에 따라서 게임합니다. 나머지는 안 돼요. 기업 비밀.
상대 플레이를 오케이 알겠습니다. Alright, so sorry guys. Alright, so as for the tempo of the game, you know, I do make a lot of important calls as a Sombra players, but all of our players on our team, my teammates are really good players as well. So because of that, if I sort of miss some of my calls or if I forget to make an important call, then my teammates come in and make the call for me. So it goes back and forth. I usually take the initiative, and if I forget, my teammates come in and they help me. So it's sort of back and forth like that. As for the mentality, however, Doha mentioned something about ult, and then he said it's a secret. It's a team strategy, so he couldn't dive into too much detail. So they just sort of see what the opposing team is playing, and Doha just left it at that. But the important word that we got was ult. 도하 선수 방금 이제 기업 비밀이라고 하셨지만은 저 들었습니다. 궁이라는 단어를 들었기 때문에 I'm just gonna say ult. Yes.
10% 정도?
And then everything else is strategy oriented, and Doha says yes, ult is okay to go. Alright, so that is Doha's answer for the first question. My second question is actually a little bit more of a fun one. Now, yesterday, Liv from his post-match interview, Liv from Shanghai Dragons, said that, you know, all the other teams other than the Los Angeles Gladiators are a tier below them. As one of the favorites heading into the playoffs or in the playoffs currently, do you have anything you want to say to that? 두 번째 질문은 조금 더 재밌는 질문입니다. 이제 도하 선수의 좀 이제 의견을 듣고 싶은데 상하이 팀의 립 선수가 어제 인터뷰에서 로스앤젤레스 글래디 팀을 제외하고 나머지 팀들은 우리보다 다 아래다. 우리만큼 잘하지 못한다라는 발언을 하셨는데 그거에 대해서 하실 말씀 있으신가요?
일단 숫자를 잘 모르는 것 같아요. 저희가 정규 시즌 1등인데 약간 뭐 숫자 모르는 건 어쩔 수 없고 뭐 글래디 아직 이기지도 못했는데 일단 올라와서 그런 말을 하면 제가 그때 다시 한번 답변 드리도록 하겠습니다.
Alright, Doha says that I believe Lip doesn't really know his numbers. We've been performing very well. We were in the top seed in the regular season. And if they said that after beating the Gladiators, that would have more value, but they did not. So I really want Lip to beat the Shanghai Dragons, to beat the Gladiators, and then come talk to me again. Say that statement again. All right. Doha, spicy. I love your answer. Thank you so much for the interview, and we will see you tomorrow. 자, 오늘 이걸로 인터뷰 마치도록 하겠고요. 좋은 답변 너무 감사드리면서 내일 뵙도록 하겠습니다.
Okay, thank you for watching.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's head back to the deck.
Thanks a lot, Doha. Congrats to the Dallas Fuel there. Moving on in that upper bracket. That leaves the Hunters to fight for their lives in the lower bracket. So here you see the updated one. We still have one more match to go. So after that, we'll have it all filled out again and can once more revisit what is going down here in our playoffs. Now, Dallas, they looked so comfortable just playing what they want to play. Meanwhile, if we're looking at the other side, at Chengdu Hunters, I mean, they were in struggle time, all right? And they showed a bit of an unwillingness to adapt to what the Dallas Fuel was playing. Interesting hill to die on, Costa.
Well, it's sort of what we said going into this match, that we haven't really seen that ability from the Chengdu Hunters when things are going wrong, when their Wrecking Ball isn't working or their Pharaoh isn't working. They haven't really shown an ability to play anything else, and I think that really came back to bite them. And I think it will hurt them as we continue into the playoffs because there are so many great teams. And the Dallas Fuel, as you said, it felt like a walk in the park. It didn't feel like they ever lost control of this match. To be honest, the only real player that really showed up from the Chengdu Hunters was Lieve. He put on an incredible performance on this Lijiang Tower, but from there it just felt like a slow bleed from the Chengdu Hunters, and quite a disappointing performance from them because I really wanted to see sort of the true power of the Dallas Fuel, but we'll have to wait for tomorrow for that one. So disappointing from Chengdu, good signs for the Dallas Fuel, but overall I think we have a lot of exciting matches ahead of us with both of these teams.
So, Reinforce, which stage of grief are you currently at?
Hope, I guess. Is that a stage? Because, I mean, even though you took like a 3-0 loss right here for the Chengdu Hunters, I mean, I still think that they are a very good team. And even though they go down to the lower bracket, this is a learning experience. Jinmu bringing out the Torbjorn here on Eichenwalde was really like the only time we saw them shy away from the Sombra and the Tracer composition. If we compare that to some of these other teams like Shanghai, who's played a lot of Sombra Farah, for example, Chengdu Hunters, they have these compositions up their wheelhouse and they can't choose to bring them out. But instead, we saw them go over to Volskaya Industries for their map choice for the second map, which we all know is like the Dallas Fuel's favorite map in the entire game. So you're almost like leaning into what the Dallas Fuel are already good at, and they're having a better game than you. Then we go to Eichenwalde. Like, where are you going to find an advantage against the Dallas Fuel? A very aggressive style of play here, because Eichenwalde, it's so close quarter that you're just giving less space to actually play around. And Dallas Fuel, they're just happy to just dive straight on top of you. So Chengdu Hunters, I think it was a bit of a disappointing performance. Obviously, I predicted them, but also as, you know, general fans around the world, I think they're a bit disappointed here from the Chengdu Hunters because they did win the last two matchups against Dallas, and they just fell completely flat in this one.
I do want to add as well, I'm still raising this question as we go. We're in the playoffs, we're at the end of the season. What is their subbing strategy for? Why is Monk starting this match? Why is all of a sudden
Among was in?
Yeah, Among was in to play as well. Yveltal and Nisha seem to be going back and forth willy-nilly. There doesn't seem to be a rhyme or a reason behind any of these decisions because they're not changing their compositions with these player swaps. They're just playing a different player, and that feels like that is hamstringing them time and time again, and that might be why we see so much inconsistency from the Chengdu Hunters.
If Chengdu don't know what they're doing, their opponents won't either.
That's true. That
might
work in the playoffs.
Emily! Emily, help! Emily, Costa has a question.
She's not here. She's not here, Danny.
She was riding an emotional roller coaster watching that game, so we got to give her some time, and then we're probably going to see if we can get some insight there, of course, as well. It's great to have her on side to get the juice for everyone here on the desk. Now, the next one coming up, that might very well be our grand final, just based on these two teams, or rather how they looked like in their first day. Now, we were wondering who's going to be able to take down the Shanghai Dragons. They've been a juggernaut, but we also asked the same question after we saw the Gladiators dominant showing in the first day. So this is the true test for both of these teams. How do they match up, Reinforce?
Very similarly, actually. I think this is going to be a very interesting matchup because these are two teams that like to play the dive composition, can bring out the Wrecking Ball if need be. And similarly to Chengdu versus Dallas, this is a matchup where you have the Gladiators, of course, who just one stage forward. They are the team who, you know, looking at the titles, won the most recent title. And meanwhile, you have the Shanghai Dragons, who are the most winningest team in terms of titles this year. Winning, of course, 2 stages back-to-back, the June Joust and the Summer Showdown. So this is almost like a litmus test here for the Shanghai Dragons going into this year's playoffs. You didn't make the Countdown Cup Hawaii stage playoff, and now you go up against the actual Countdown Cup champion. So if Shanghai Dragons, they could very well come out here and just put on an absolute showing like Dallas Fuel just did against the Chengdu Hunters. Or LA Gladiators, are they going to be a bit more competitive here? Are they going to bring down the Shanghai Dragons? And that will be the proof, the actual proof that the LA Gladiators can hang with the very best in the world, Dallas Fuel and Shanghai Dragons that didn't make it to the stage playoffs because they wanted some more practice.
I mean, so far, honestly, that looked like a good choice because they have been absolutely on fire in their first match today. So this is the true test for both of these teams. But we're going to find out who everyone here is taking for this one. So let's bring up our picks for this match.
Johnny, were you bold?
Where we're going. Is anyone feeling? Nope. Okay, not enough. But to be fair, I mean, yes, Gladiators looked phenomenal in the Countdown Cup. Yes, Gladiators looked fantastic on day one. But Shanghai did all of that and then some, right? Throughout the entirety of the season.
Right.
So I think if you're betting against them, you're either a diehard Gladiators fan or you're on some copium mixture right there.
Yeah, it's one of those things of like, as much as we can hype up the Gladiators recently, they've been so good. Countdown Cup, they looked dominant in their match yesterday. They've never beaten the Shanghai Dragons. The Shanghai Dragons, when they're putting their best foot forward, has yet to be beaten. And I think it's hard to say that the Gladiators are going to beat them until we see that.
Yeah, I mean, they did make their way to your heart and to your top two, even though not actually in your brackets you filled out. But, you know, in hindsight, we're all getting a little cleverer. There's only one way to find out, though, if they can get it done. And that's, of course, playing the match. So once again, we do have our two casters ready to go. Mitch and Matt, you guys think this one is going to be a close one?
I'd hope so. I mean, the last one was.
Yeah.
That's great. Wrap it up.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't want to watch more.
Let's look at Mitch.
Matt, be quiet. Which one do we have to say?
I would like this to be close. For some reason, I just don't think it will be, though. I love that you
going
bring
which way?
Well, I think the Shanghai Dragons, it's one-sided for them. I personally think.
Yep.
I think that the Gladiators are really stable. I think Space is one of the most involved flex tank players, and he's also very good at being aggressive and punishing backlines. But we saw Izayaki and Lijiang be impossible to dive in the game so far. When they're playing the Brig and the Zen setup, even a look like that, they're too good at staving off aggression. So that's what I'm worried about a little bit here. I think for anyone that goes against Dragons.
It's a real test, though, because I think, like you guys mentioned, the Gladiators obviously won the last tournament that didn't have Dallas and Shanghai. So it's like, well, are the Gladiators that good? We're about to find out. We just found out Dallas is still pretty good. So might not be that good for the Gladiators. We'll see.
I mean, he was legitimately believing that this is part of Dallas's slow decline into obscurity at the end of the season.
Chengdu just rolled the dice and threw whoever in the game. I mean, come on.
That's copium. That's legitimately copium.
I agree.
Emily's got to let me know I got to talk to over there. Get the subs right. Get the sheet going. Get the right sheet going.
I mean, you predated them, they might still smack you in the face.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everyone slept on the Dallas Fuel. I think they've been very good, and I think we haven't seen the true power of the Shanghai Dragons yet. I'm very curious, and I think they're going to put their best foot forward for this match against Gladiators, because they've both said so far over the last couple of days, each of them is their rival in this tournament. They're the ones they're eyeing off to be their equal opposition, so proof is in the pudding there.
And I'm getting hungry, Scott. I won't lie to you. I'd love to see that as an upper bracket final. Thanks, guys. Great to check in with you all. Hope you're not too cold out there. Yeah, hope you're not too...
They look fine.
We'll
enjoy the sunset. We'll be all right.
Can we get you guys some croissants or something? I don't know, or some masubi. Yeah, all right. Well, we'll ring it up, no worries. Look, I love the idea, of a Shanghai Dallas Fuel, at least an upper bracket final, because it sets the stage for like a potential rematch as well. Yeah. Whoever goes through the lower brackets is going to do so with such fervor. But we don't want to sell the Los Angeles Gladiators short here, because legitimately, we just don't have the data on how they stack up against a team like the Shanghai Dragons. We've seen them against the Fuel, but again, Dallas now have found a different level. So this throws a lot of our initial impressions, Matt, up in the air. And you have to look, let's be honest, man, going up against the Fusion here for the Gladiators is probably what they were looking for. Yeah, that kind of easing in.
Right. And I do think, though, this is like two different Gladiators teams that we've seen throughout this year, right? Okay. Like, we've seen them at times with, Mirror in it, off-tank to play Zarya, and he's in it DPS.
And Farah and Genji.
Moth is coming in. They've really kind of just relied on the shoe and skewed back line Skewed is a fantastic brig, one of the best that we have, maybe the best in the league. And then I think since Kevster got with the team and been in NA, he has been a way different player. He has been unbelievable.
I think he could have been an MVP, serious MVP candidate if he played all year in person. Anyway, let's now bring them out. Let's refamiliarize ourselves with the Lions from the West. It is the Los Angeles Gladiators.
LA is on the warpath. This purple squad, they are on such a heater. This is the Gladiators that was promised in the preseason.
Space! That is a gigantic self-destruct.
Oh my god! That was barbaric.
Now, Kevster! Oh no!
Gladiators are getting everything they want. Chengdu's been taken out. I don't believe that.
As the Gladiators look better than ever. And listen, at this end of the season, what better time potentially for Moth to make his sort of return to being a mainstay in this roster, right? But that's not the case here with what we've seen. We actually have the Los Angeles Gladiators coming in with Shu and Skew.
They've been great as a combo for this team. There's no reason to move off of that. And like I mentioned, Kevster has been unbelievable this season. I think if he was here probably for the whole season, when I say here, in Los Angeles,
in LA,
he's a legit MVP candidate. I mean, he has been that good on the Tracer and other heroes. And I think Space has had a little bit of a comeback here, where maybe last year people kind of weren't as high on him as an off-tank, but I really feel like he's bounced back in a big way.
Yeah, he's involved in every fight to the greatest degree possible. And he's very aggressive, right? He's part of the engine room that allows the Los Angeles Gladiators to punish these less mobile backlines. Currently, Space has the highest number of eliminations in the league at 20 per 10. That is 2 kill involvements per minute. He's constantly diving in and making sure his presence is felt. And that's what you have to do. I mean, you don't necessarily have the same level of burst potential as a DPS, but you're really getting involved in those fights. Space is just a huge part of this team, a driving force. But their opponents are, oh man, not to be underestimated. A team that eluded the Gladiators in the Countdown Cup. They were not in Hawaii, but now they're ready to compete with them. It is the Shanghai Dragons.
The championship mentality from this team, Brent, is just abnormal. What we're witnessing almost feels like a coronation rather than a competition for the Shanghai Dragons. This is brutal. It's absolute domination.
Oh! The resilience from the Dragons is unbelievable.
They play away from it. What? Are you joking? Void, how does he keep doing this?
Fled are still alive, just tearing them up.
This class, this is old style. Iziaki's doing this on his own.
Oh my! 3 kills for Lip, are you kidding me?
That is beautiful stuff.
And the Shanghai Dragons are looking hot right now in these playoffs. They're taking absolutely no prisoners. They're showing the brand of dominance that we expect to see from them, man.
And they probably felt like they should have won last year. They've been looking at it, with Roadhog coming in later in the season, they probably feel like if that doesn't happen, that big meta shift, something we have not seen really since then, really ever, that was their year to take it. And they come back. They don't even really retool this roster significantly. It's just Fate in for Fearless and Stand 1, and he's been rock solid the entire year. So this is a Shanghai team who's really, their goal started last year to come in, win the Overwatch League. They got very close last year. This is the year they probably feel like it's right in their hands.
So many individuals that are basically best in class. In any matchup, they're favored, at every single position. Lijiang Tower's one of my favorite parts of this team. We talked about his Lucio, right? He really made a name for himself with that absurd Lucio performance on Lijiang Tower Garden at one point. But his Mercy play is actually incredible. He is an aggressive support, right? Always considered to be quite aggressive. He has the most number of players resurrected in the entire league. And he actually has a 1.0 resurrections to deaths ratio. So he's replacing himself every time he comes out of spawn. That's a big deal for a Mercy player.
Yeah. It's an interesting way. A big deal for a Mercy player there. Yeah. Bringing yourself back, bringing people back. But Ilios with the first map up. Obviously with no Moth in, you fully expect to see double flex support style stuff really skewed on the Brig, and then whether you have Shu play the Batiste or the Zen. It's really kind of what you're looking at. Could play the Ana as well, right? On a Brig. We've seen that at times. How does Shanghai react? Do they react at all? Do they come out and just play what we've seen them play for the last few months?
I've enjoyed seeing also that Gladiators go for like the Super Shimada Brothers look as well, with Birdring playing the Hangzhou. That's looked more than serviceable here. I think Birdring actually takes a back seat in the battle of who's the flashiest on this team, because Kev's is just so brutally explosive, but he's able to do a heck of a lot of work, whether it's on the Sombra or on the Hangzhou or anything else.
Well, Birdring's on the quest to be a 2-time champion, right?
That's right.
I think people forget about that at times. He's a huge part of the playoff run for the London Spitfire in Season 1. So this would be a much different role, much different situation than that at the time.
And for everything Musen and Skewed, this is a rookie season for them, along with Kevster. You know what I mean? This team, Christ, 3 players in their sort of their debut seasons. It's a big deal.
I mean, Kevster was here last year, right, for like half half of the season, a little bit more than that. But it'll be the Gladiators coming out with the Tracers Sombra. Mirror matchup on both sides. So see who can get the best of each other here.
And I feel like this is probably how both of these teams are going to like to play quite often. So they're very evenly matched up in each role here. Lip, obviously, I think is in a position to put his team over the top if he can have that big impact on the Sombra. The Birdring gets scattered out pretty early here, and already these teams are trading blows, chipping that paint nice and early.
And Shanghai actually gets control of the Mega Health Pack first. They take that side of the map and they push on through, which just force the Gladiators into that back corner.
Yeah, and Kevster's going to go down again with a hacked Mega Health Pack. There's a little bit less flexibility and a little bit less room for Kevster on the Tracer to work. Lijiang's able to take him down there, and that's the start the Dragons were looking for. Space is desuited, and you know how this fight's going to go.
Yeah, so everybody will drop here for the Gladiators. Is getting control of that Mega Health Pack is huge. You see the position it forced the Gladiators in. They can't exactly fight on that side of the map. It's a huge healing advantage where, at least I can see on the minimap, Birdring constantly has to track back towards the Mega Health Pack on the Gladiator side of the map. Takes him out of the fight for an extended period of time. As Lit getting ready for this EMP, but they're going to go right back into the spawn.
Okay, why there? How interesting. It doesn't even look like the Dragons were actually in position to do much about that.
No.
Possibly a miscommunication there, Matt. Either way, Birdring now has one of his own, and that one connects. Izayaki.
Slightly more effective.
Yeah, you could say that. Disappears in a puff of smoke, does the Zenyatta, and the Brigitte is hacked right now, even though Lijiang has Rally. Not a good look for the Dragons, but they have a pretty substantial lead, and the Gladiators are taking their time, moving to the points, giving Skewed now an opportunity to build that rally. He's going to bring that into the fight. If Izayaki can get here in time, there'll be a transcendence for the Dragons, but they've just lost the point.
And he almost gets knocked back there, Skewed, into the minefield that was directly behind him. Space is going to have to use a self-destruct just to get a mech back.
Lijiang, he goes for the bash. It actually misses, and Shu has a chance to go, okay, I'm just going to pop the transcendence right now. The Dragons, though, still seem to want to come forward despite the huge healing differential. Oh my god. Izayaki in absolute no man's land there, eventually going to get plucked away by Kevster. Will then deal with Void as he comes out with the D-suit. Lip might have had a translocate away from the bomb there.
So you see now the Gladiators are starting to get a little bit more map control, right? You've got control of the Mega Health Pack now. You can play on that side just to try and push all the way in through, right? You can kind of play from this area. If you're the Gladiators, you can back up to your choke, right? You have control over that one.
I need healing.
You're in a good spot to play this side of the map, and you can constantly rotate your Tracer and the tanks through this side.
Gladiators facing down what may be their greatest challenge in the 2021 season with clear eyes. So far looking pretty darn good. They're going to draw even now on percentage, but they will have to contend with the EMP in the next fight as Birdring hastily tries to build one of his own.
Yes, that'll be an EMP from Lip. He's going to get Shu in space, but where is the follow-up? Yet another odd EMP here from Lip.
Absolutely. From the top Sombra player in the world, a couple of really odd sequences. Shu is hit full on with that EMP, but there's so much protection for the Gladiators. Legitimately shields up, and they keep the Zen in the fight. The Dragons do flip the point as a result.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do get the point, but here's going to be an EMP from Birdring. That gets 3, and you can now push in behind this.
Got a manual hack attempt on Izayaki from Birdring. He couldn't even collapse there. The Gladiators weren't quite in position to capitalize either, but Kevster gets in there with the pulse bomb, Matt.
Yeah, they use the rally, and they decide to push on through. As trying to get Void low, he's going to get back to a health pack. I don't know if this is enough for the Gladiators to flip.
Can they get to the point? They're very close. The Dragons now going to contest. It's a D-suit there for Void. and he'll be removed. The EMP there catches Skewed in space, but not Shu, and he's just going to hold on to the Transcendence for as long as he has to. It's a long stall for the Dragons, but the Gladiators are back in the hot seat.
Yeah, and there was no fear there, actually. Kevster dodges that EMP with a recall, so he doesn't get hit by it. Look to see the same thing we kind of saw with both Transcendences last time. They both used them, pretty much offensively, right? To just kind of counter each other. Everybody kind of stood in the neutral, just put down some damage.
Kevster looking to be dangerous now. The Dragons flip back. Okay, I don't know if that really went to plan. This could be dangerous here for the Gladiators. They're looking to recap themselves down. Fletter's gone down, but we see a trade of Sombra. Birdering's gone down, and he was very close to having an EMP. If he can get a longer fight, he could have built that up. Now, though, it's looking less and less likely. Lib, however, will be dangerous. Izayaki played from the higher ground here, but Muse catches him with a mine. He has no idea. He backed up into the mine. Izayaki completely mystified by that, but the Dragons are still in a powerful position, and there's a hack on Muse. Muse been so stable this whole round, but there's really not enough teammates to take eyes off him there, and he's going to get picked off. Birdring comes back in, somehow he's built that EMP I talked about.
And Skewed with a rally here, but is it going to be enough? That's going to be an EMP. It's going to connect with 3. He's going to get a manual hack on the Fleta right after, and Skewed doing work.
Yeah, Fleta can't get away there. He's hacked and can't escape. But the Gladiators can't touch. They've got 2 flankers, and that's all they've got left. They have to translocate. They have to recall. They have to give the point to the Dragons.
Both teams, though, that was a good close first round. I think even if you're the Gladiators and you end up losing that one, you still have to feel pretty good about the way that you played there. So now we see some changes here for the Gladiators. This will be Skewed just kind of using the speed boost here to get out of spawn, and then he'll switch over to the break. So what does Kevster decide to play? Or maybe do you keep the Lucio here? Skewed really hasn't played it at all, but
it might be. I think point control is really crucial if you're playing a Risi here, so you speed them out plus TP. That should get you in a good spot on the point early. Speed, right. TP, switch.
Echo. All right. So Echo, Mercy with the Batiste here for the Gladiators, and now the Hangzhou. So much different look. A complete different play style from what we just saw from them.
There aren't a lot of teams at this point in the playoffs, Matt, that are going to play Orisa. This is very map-specific, in fairness, but Mew's going to try and leverage that trademark stability as a main tank here to shore things up.
He's done already, and it's going to be a hack on the Kevser. And look at this, Void gets right up to the high ground in their faces.
Yeah, losing Shu there, I think, is what really hurts the Gladiators. Again, I kind of get the idea. They play in 2 halves there, but puts a lot of pressure on Space to be able to prolong, Muse's lifespan and the lifespan of these barrier, as well as help Kevster and Skewed in that sort of playing from the high ground fight. We might need to see switches here.
And potentially, because when they see Muse on the point, they're not even really worried about him. Like, he's not a main source of damage. Like, if they can just access these players up on the high ground and deal with them, that's really kind of what they're going to go for. You saw the hacks on the, like,
I actually think
Space.
Kevster got ignored more than Muse did. I think Fleta spent most of his time working that Orisa down. He got Pulse Bomb as a result of that. That's a minefield there. That's, of course, from Fate. Pulse Bomb there. Muse has gone down first again. Has to be rezzed here. This feels awkward for the Gladiators, but Birdering's been able to double down and find Lijiang and Fate. It's 3-4 kills for the Sombra. Okay, dude. Okay. Lovely stuff from Birdering.
I mean, those are the type of plays you need him to make, right? Has that championship experience for this team. Really, him and Moth, right? Kind of leading in that regard. It's Moth back-to-back. Birdering, obviously, won the first year. Is the kill on a Fate here is huge, and then you see just Turn help finish off some of these players that are weak.
Pretty big when it comes to building another quick EMP. He may have one at the same time as Lip has the chance to use his. So Muse really wants to force the Dragons out into the open to try and deal with him. That's when Kevster has his pick of the bunch in terms of duplication targets. Right now looking to try and pressure Fletter if at all possible. That's a bongo from Muse. Birdering's hacked. He has the EMP, but he's hacked. He gets taken down by Fate.
Yeah, no, it's going to force the Transcendence here, so maybe Kevster can use that duplicate after, and I mean, everybody falls there, so not able to use that EMP when you have control of the point. Nothing to do there with a duplicate towards the end, as this will be a flip to Shanghai.
And of course, Shu with the Batiste here is hoping to get some decent value out of that Immortality field, and of course the M-Matrix, but against the EMP, both those are nullified. Lip being able to build them as quickly as he does It's going to make it pretty hard for the Baptista to sort of tap into the strongest parts of his kit in crucial fights. The Dragons at 70% and counting now. Muse's already had to use Fortify, so you know he's in deep trouble, Matt.
Yeah, and Valkyrie popped here as well. They'll be able to get a res, but that's actually Lijiang coming out of an alleyway there. With the
this happened to the Shock. This exact play happened to the San Francisco Shock. The Gladiators just getting pushed now in towards their sport. So they'll get to the point, but look what they had to use to get there. Oh, and Kev's the duplicates, it's fine. Scoot had to rally. And EMP's also gone for the Gladiators.
I mean, at that point, you have to throw everything in, right? 86%, they're running down your spawn with a rally. You can't just let that happen and hope you get another fight. That is really the map right there. So with the point flip, they give themselves a chance, though, here. The Shanghai Dragons pretty dry on ultimate, so you think maybe you can get this up, win this fight if you have the Gladiators, or just make it long, costly, get a bongo, get an amp matrix. You're in a good spot.
This is really bad news for Birdring.
Yeah.
Okay, Lip needs to get into the fight. Birdring obviously now has a couple seconds, so he can't do anything because he's waiting for his translocator to be off cooldown. Lip actually gets that kill on him, finds where Birdring was. That translocator cooldown really hurt Birdring, and that might have just been the map there for the Gladiators. Great foresight by Lip to know exactly how to control the Gladiators' ability to turn this fight around. And that's it. It's more of a whimper that the Gladiators look to go out on here. The Dragons have an EMP they can use. See, Kevster now is going to try and look for something, some opportunity, but this is that stability. Two stable teams, man, going head to head, and it comes down to the individual. Fleta exemplifying that statement right there and then.
Fleta, last season's MVP, picks up a few kills here at the end. This is just kind of a victory lap, so to speak, for the Shanghai Dragons. Is they will take map number 1.
And now the Gladiators realizing what it feels like to be subject to the heat of that dragon fire. Shanghai take absolutely no prisoners, and they're not this kind of team that is reckless. It's going to make these odd decisions outside of a couple of weird EMPs from Lip. They're a team that really knows how to play to high percentage, play to safe way. The Gladiators are going to need to dig a little deeper if they want to rattle these tyrants.
They're scary, Shanghai. They play fast, and they play so smart, and they do not make mistakes. That if you step out just a little bit too far, if you make that wrong move, they are going to capitalize against you. And they can play at that fast tempo. It's tough. It's got to be so tough for the Gladiators to go up against.
The only way we see these Titans topple is when these raw skill from individuals gets leveraged to sort of force errors.
Yeah.
That's what the Gladiators are going to be looking to do. They have the talent, right? They have the talent in their tank role. They have the talent naturally at DPS. Kevster, obviously, I'm sure, is a bit nervous going up against this kind of opposition, but now the Gladiators need to go up a gear. It's time to hit the next level, Los Angeles. Stick around, everybody. Map number 2 is around the corner as the Dragons get off to a flying start.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.